Hi, Secretary Clinton, will you release a transcript of your paid speeches to Goldman Sachs? Secretary. Is that a no?
At the MSNBC Democratic debate, Hillary Clinton was asked whether or not she would release her paid speeches to Goldman Sachs. And at that time, she said she'd look into it. Well, when asked about it again, she said, let everybody who's ever given a speech to any private group under any circumstances release them. We'll all release them at the same time. So what she's basically saying is that, I'm not going to release anything until everyone else releases their paid speeches, including the Republicans, she implied. But we're not voting Republican, we're voting for a Democratic candidate. So you need to release it for us. We're not considering the Republicans, do it for the Democratic constituents. It's between you and Bernie on our side. So you can say, well, you know what, I'm not going to release anything until Bernie does. That's disingenuous, and it kind of proves that you're a little bit scared to release them. But that would be more realistic. But to say that, no, the Republicans have to release it too, what you're doing is you're setting up this impossible standard so that way you don't ever have to release them. So that way you can say, well, you know, they haven't released it, so why should I? Let's all do it at the same time. I'm not worried about it. Let's do it. Let's release the speeches. Hillary, come on. This makes you look so bad. Just release them. Now, Politico released a story about how one attendee recalls what Hillary Clinton had to say. So let's go ahead and dive into that. When Hillary Clinton spoke to Goldman Sachs executives, she spoke glowingly of the work the bank was doing. She spent no time criticizing Goldman or Wall Street more broadly for its role in the 2008 financial crisis. She spoke glowingly about a fraudulent and criminal organization? Really? All right, well, let's continue. It was pretty glowing about us. One person who watched the event said, it's so far from what she sounds like as a candidate now. It was like a rah-rah speech. She sounded more like a Goldman Sachs managing director. At another speech to Goldman and its big asset management clients in New York in 2013, Clinton spoke about how it wasn't just the banks that caused the financial crisis, and that it was worth looking at the landmark 2010 Dodd-Frank financial reform law to see what was working and what wasn't. Wow, so she always touts Dodd-Frank as the power of the government to rein in these big banks. She says that it gives us the ability to break them up if need be, if they pose a risk, which they already do. But she basically told them that she's willing to open up Dodd-Frank for surgery. It's already been watered down, but she's going to open it up for them and say, this provision doesn't work, get rid of it. That doesn't work, let's get rid of it. This is devastating. Now I know why she doesn't want to release those speeches. If it were up to me, I'd just say go ahead and release them and deal with it, said one senior Democrat close to the Clinton campaign. But I can understand why they don't want to, because anything can be taken out of context and blown up. One thing that is clear is that Clinton could release the Goldman transcripts unilaterally if she chose to do so. Okay, we already knew that she did have the ability to release the speeches if she wanted to. We knew that they did have the transcripts, but she's not worried about being taken out of context. What she's worried about is the fact that she's guilty. And if she does release these speeches, we're going to see them and we're going to see what she said to these criminals. And it's not going to be good for her campaign. So the fact that she's guilty is why she doesn't want to release these speeches. She knows it's not going to bode well for her campaign. See, you don't hide something if you don't have anything to hide. If you do have something to hide, you hide it. You keep it away. You don't want voters to see it. I mean, I'm guessing that she has a lot of things in here that she doesn't want us to see. I think that if they really gave a damn about your thoughts and, you know, your grand ideas, they would look you up on YouTube or Google you. They're not going to pay you $600,000 for a speech. They'd pay you $600,000 if they are investing in you and they expect to get a return on that investment. It's a business deal. They don't just go around throwing away money for no reason. They want something, Hillary. You think that we're naive and that you can pull the wool over our eyes. Look, if it smells like a turd, it's probably shit, and this situation is incredibly shitty right now, and Hillary Clinton doesn't know that we're not dumb. We see it. Even her own supporters cannot defend her in this regard. Now, Goldman Sachs also donated to Hillary Clinton's campaign. Now, do you think that a business organization whose incentive and drive is to make profits and increase profits would contribute to the campaign of a candidate that went on stage and said, look, you guys are criminals. I'm going to break you up. I'm going to throw your executives in jail? Do you think they would do that, Hillary Clinton? There's a reason why Goldman Sachs called Bernie Sanders dangerous. There's a reason why they didn't donate to his campaign. It's because they don't expect a return on their investment. Bernie Sanders has a lot of great ideas about Wall Street. Why don't they pay him for speeches? Because they don't like what he has to say, but for some peculiar reason, they really like what you had to say so much that they paid you at 3 different occasions a total of $600,000 to speak on their behalf. This is bad. This is bad for her campaign, and she's damned if she does either way. If she releases the speeches, she's exposed as a shill for Goldman Sachs. If she doesn't release the speeches, then the suspicion will continue to grow. This problem will augment for her campaign. It's not going to get any better. So she's cornered here. So what is the solution for her? Well, you release the speeches anyway. It doesn't matter what the consequences are. If you're trying to run for president, then you better be transparent. And you've proven with the email scandal as well that you haven't been transparent. Why would you use your own private email server unless you wanted to do some shady stuff? See, this is why we don't trust you, Hillary. You're so entrenched in the political establishment. You are the political establishment that we cannot trust that you're going to fight for us. So release the speeches, regardless if you think they're going to be good or bad for your campaign, because it's not helping you at all to just sit on them.
Thanks for watching the Humanist Report. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out at humanistreport.com.